Assalamualaikum and hello, my name is Husna, and today my group members and I will critique on the direct method that started at around 19th century. So I am from group 1 and my group mates consist of me, Ashraf and also Amanina. I'm going to first go into the brief history of the direct method. So it is also known as the natural method and was created in response to the grammar translation method that only focused on the grammar and written aspect of language and not the communicative aspect of language. So learners of the grammar translation method was not able to speak the target language fluently. So this prompted the idea of direct method that was first published in France in 1880 by Francois Guan, and then Guan was influenced by his German friend Alexander von Humboldt. Then Emile Dessois traveled to America in early 20th century to spread the method there. However, he was proved unsuccessful because of the lack of foreign language needs and scarcity of highly skilled teachers in the US during the time period. But the direct method is still considered relevant and relatively popular up till today. Next, we'll look into the goal of direct method. So the main goal of the direct method is to teach learners to fluently speak the target language through full immersion in the target language. Full immersion here means that the native language is not at all allowed in the classroom. It is prohibited in the classroom. So all conversations and communication in the classroom should be conducted in the target language. This is to enable students to be able to communicate and to speak the target language fluently. So this method doesn't really focus on the grammar aspect of it as grammar translation method do, but rather focuses on the communicative aspect of it. So that is the main goal of direct method, which is to enable students to speak the target language fluently.
Next, it is based on the following main principle. Number 1, oral practice. The direct method gives an importance to speech as the lesson is taught through the targeted language only. Learners are given sufficient practice in listening to the language and then communicate with it. Besides, oral practice helps the learners to associate with the object and ideas for which they stand. Number 2, restrain a mother tongue. The learners are taught by showing the real objects or performing the actions, or maybe by showing them the suitable illustrations in context. This makes them to think in the targeted language and learn to respond in the targeted language as well. Number 3, the sentence is the unit of speech. Since the sentence is the unit of speech, the lesson through the direct method is started with the teaching of sentences and not individual words. No single word in the targeted language has a single meaning because all the words have a connotative meanings. In direct method, meanings are taught contextually. Number 4, grammar is taught inductively. Inductive method means that the teacher presents the rule through the situations and sentences. The teachers guided the practice, then the learners do free practice. After that, the teacher deduces or elicits the rule form from the learners themselves. Inductive method of teaching grammar is always good for learners as it makes the learners to frame the rules from the language they learned. So, they are able to comprehend the language well and frame the rules of the language better. Number 5, opportunity to learn new vocabulary. New words are chosen after careful selections and gradations. The learners are taught at a defined stages through spoken language. New words are taught by material associations, explanations, or used in suitable contexts. So, the learners could obtain more vocabulary. Let's continue with the limitations again with Ashrafu.
Thank you, Amanina. Let's talk about the limitations that the direct method poses. Firstly, because of the nature of the direct method that ignores systematic written work and reading activities, it excludes the student from systematic grammar lesson and authentic reading materials that will further upgrade their proficiency level. Secondly, the target language is an active spoken discourse employing realia for comprehension. This will narrow the type of words that the student may come into contact with, as not every word has their meanings represented by a physical object. For example, contemporary. Explaining such word will be a challenge for teachers. Thirdly, highly skilled teachers are required to make this method effective. The level of proficiency of the teachers impact the quality of their lessons. Language is very nuanced in terms of its vocabulary. To eat and to feed may essentially carry the same meaning but are used in different contexts. Incompetent teachers may wrongly suggest inaccurate words or phrases to their students. Lastly, for the last 2 points, the direct method may not be for everyone. For advanced students, the method is too confining for more articulate and technical aspects of a language to be taught in. On the other hand, this method may be less suitable for slow learners who may struggle with this method. It requires active participation and critical understanding through listening, which may not be on par with some learners' learning capacity. Now, let's move on with Husna.
Next, we're going to move on to the teaching and learning process and activities. Firstly, teachers use everyday dialogues like, how are you? How's the weather? How was your weekend? To encourage students to speak in the target language. So the idea is for the students to participate in conversations as much as possible so they can communicate fluently. Next, vocabulary is taught using Realia to ensure understanding. So Realia is using objects and materials from everyday life, from real life, as teaching aids. So since the use of L1 or native language is prohibited, we use Realia, we use real objects from daily lives to explain certain vocabularies. For example, if you were to teach about a circle, you would bring different types of objects that share the characteristics of a circle to show that you're explaining about a circle. For example, you bring a ball, a circle shape, a ring, a pizza, a donut, and a clock, all sharing the characteristics of a circle to show that you're actually explaining about a circle. And also, if you look in the picture here, this is explaining about colors. So the orange, all of the pictures that has orange in it, and then red, and then the list goes on. Thirdly, we have question and answer sessions that also are implemented in the classroom, but only using the target language. Because the main purpose of this method is for communication, only pronunciation is corrected when students answers or questions something. The grammar is learned inductively, so the grammar is not corrected, only the pronunciation. As long as you can get the meaning across, then it's fine. And then fourthly, we also, in this method, emphasize on a non-judgmental and supportive class environment where mistakes is a part of learning. Mistakes is a part of learning and does not give a bad reflection on the students. And teachers also do not penalize students on mistakes, but rather guide them to the right answers. So this way, students can participate confidently in class without hesitation. They can freely ask about anything to ensure a correct understanding of what they are learning. Okay, so that is all from us. Thank you very much.